Dr. Marcello Sbrocca, and in this video I'm going to talk about how to play vibrato on the saxophone. So first off, what is vibrato? Well, the word vibrato comes from the Italian verb vibrare, which means to vibrate. So basically, vibrato is when you're adding vibration or these undulations to the sound. Depending on the instrument you're playing, you will create the vibrato differently. For example, if you're a string player, you're going to rock your finger back and forth on the string in order to add those vibrations. If you're a flutist, I know this because I used to be a flutist, and that is you add vibrato by your air. I won't go over every instrument, but on the saxophone, we create vibrato with our jaw. Some people argue that you might use your voice a little bit to help with the vibrato, but in general, I find that vibrato on the saxophone is achieved by adding and taking away pressure with your jaw. Now, this can be difficult for a couple of reasons. You have to make sure that you are starting from an embouchure that is not too tight, because you have to be able to go up and down with your jaw, and the sound needs to be focused throughout the entire undulation of the vibrato. If you were somebody who is making your sound centered and with a good sound via a tight embouchure, then you're going to find that when you add vibrato into your sound, it's not going to go very well. I guess what I'm trying to say is that your sound, like I have another video called How to Improve Tone Quality and Ease of Playing. And in there I talk about how to adjust or rather align your embouchure, your voicing, which is how you funnel air into the mouthpiece via your voice, and your air pressure to help you create a nicer sound and to make playing the saxophone more easy. And if you're somebody who has a misaligned embouchure and voicing and air pressure, you're going to find that when you add that layer of vibrato on it, you're going to have problems. So the first thing I want to address is the number one misconception with vibrato. And that is, and I don't know who came up with this originally, but it is something I've heard many times, and that is that when you play vibrato, some people say, like let's say this is the vibrato note, they say that you should only go below the sound. And again, I've heard this a lot. I've heard this from multiple people all over the country. It doesn't make any sense, and I can disprove it very quickly, actually. If you were a string player and somebody told you to only go below the note, what would they basically be telling you? They would basically be telling you to, because, let me restart. When you play vibrato, the pitch that is perceived is the center of those undulations. And if you only go below, you're effectively just lowering the pitch. And I use the example of a string player because it's so obvious. It's like, if that's the note you're playing, and I tell you to only go below the note, you're just effectively lowering the pitch. And that's not the only problem. For some people, when they're playing, as I mentioned a minute ago, they're already using so much pressure with their embouchure that they can only go down. And so for those people, their sound actually might stay focused throughout the whole undulation of the vibrato. But for those of us who are starting from a good point, we're starting with a really well aligned voicing and an embouchure that is not too tight, with good air pressure. If you only go below, not only are you lowering the pitch of the note, but you're also making your sound less focused and kind of saggy sounding. Okay, so those are the two main problems with only going below. It's that you lower the pitch, and sometimes it can make your sound sound unfocused and saggy. So I'll demonstrate. If you're somebody who has a well-aligned embouchure and you're able to go up and down with the vibrato, it should feel like this, or sound like this. And if that idea is new to you, to go up and down, then what I would recommend to you is what was recommended to me many years ago by a saxophone teacher of mine named Vincent David, which is to start the vibrato going up. So if you're not used to doing that, start the vibrato by adding pressure. If you find that when you add pressure, it just creates a pinched sound like this, then chances are you're using too much pressure. You know, you need to be able to play normally and freely and be able to connect notes and make phrases out of music. In other words, add direction, and then to add the vibrato on top. If you find that when you add the vibrato, it's like you have to reset your embouchure, then you're doing something wrong. It should be easy for the most part to add vibrato into your sound. If you're somebody who's already starting with a good embouchure and you're just going down, you might sound like this. Which is flat and saggy, and of course I'm exaggerating a little bit. But that's why you need to find that good position where you're using an embouchure that's not too tight and you go up and down. And really, that is as simple as vibrato. That's it. That's as simple as it is. It's just with your jaw. The difficulty is that starting position. Which again, if you want help with that, please watch my video on how to improve tone quality and ease of playing, and that can help you find that good starting position from which you can add the vibrato on. But I'm not going to lie to you, vibrato can get very difficult. If you're adding vibrato on one note in the middle of a fast passage, let's say you have some run of notes and then you hit a note and you want to add vibrato to it, that can be hard. If you're swelling with a note, like getting louder and quieter, it can be hard to maintain good tone quality while adding vibrato to that note. It can be difficult to play vibrato when you're adding it to a note that's really low or really high or really quiet or really loud. And it's especially difficult if you're adding it, if you're wanting to keep vibrato going throughout multiple notes in a line. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And thank you so much for watching.